And welcome back, everybody, to GSA. This is the World Peace Tournament. We are in round two. This is the very final match of round two. Apologies for all of the delays. Thank you guys for sticking around and for all of your patience. We were just dealing some technical difficulties, but we are good to go, ready to start this race here between MiiWii and Bayleef. With me here on commentary is Nerf. Nerf, how are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Dangerous? I am definitely ready.
I have never been
Very
more
excited.
ready.
I have been waiting for this, believe it or not.
Your whole life?
My whole life.
Your whole entire
Everything
life
I've done
has led up to this moment.
Yep, and here I am.
And here we are. So I think this is going to be a very exciting matchup. We have with us for some pre-interviews MiiWii and Bayleef themselves. MiiWii, how do you feel about this upcoming race here?
I don't entirely know like the outcome of this race, what it's gonna be, because like on one hand, Bayleef has a better world peace time, but on the other hand, Bayleef hasn't run world peace in a while. Though he has run Darker Side, which the pre-post game part of that any percent part is close to world peace. So
Indeed.
I'm not sure how this is gonna end up.
There are a lot of similarities, that's for sure. MiiWii, you are fresh off of PB within the last day, I believe. So
Yeah.
hopefully the world peace is nice and fresh, and best of luck to you there. We're going to move to Bayleef. Bayleef, how do you feel about the race today?
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes, I guess. I got my notes up, got my usual splits on every moon, so I'm not gonna miss anything. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just kind of not mixing up muscle memory.
Indeed, yeah. Bayleef, you're very well known for using your splits as notes, and I think that's actually a really good idea, especially with a category that you may have not touched in a while. However, World Peace and Darker Side do have some similarities, so the consistency may carry you through, and I think that this will be a very exciting race between the two of you.
Yeah.
So I think we're ready to go. You guys can queue up. Leave the call whenever you're ready. We will count you down in the chat. Thank you for the interviews.
Yeah.
No problem.
No problem.
And best of luck. All right, Nerf. Do you have any predictions for this race? How familiar are you with World Peace?
Now, is this the one where you get like 500 moons?
That's the Darker Side. That's the Bayleef specialty. We might be here for quite a while if that were the case.
Is this the one that happens in some hour?
Oh yeah, that one. That I think you're thinking of nipple percent there.
Oh,
actually.
Okay.
Yes, that one's.
No, World Peace. You know, I know all the tricks, but there's definitely a lot of route changes that I'm definitely going to talk about. That I have seen a recent run, so I'm not going to be too thrown off, but definitely excited to see. Maybe, you know, it's always fun to see how different people just set things up, even though we're all kind of doing the same route.
Indeed. And I think that part of what makes World Peace really cool is that some of the route is fixed, more or less, right? This game is very versatile in trying to find what the best way, the fastest way is. You know, you compare it to a game like Super Mario 64, and, you know, the routing there isn't necessarily as fluid because you enter the level, you have to get from the start of the level to the star as fast as possible, and then you get sent back to the beginning. Whereas this game is very, very fluid and very diverse in the way that you can go from one place to another, and it's all very interconnected and very, you know, expansive, and the possibilities are endless, you could say. So that's kind of what makes this a very exciting speed game to watch. And World Peace kind of has some of the moons fixed in a sense that you have to get them in order to progress the story, in order to get all of the multi-moons to move on to the next kingdom. So it is quite a bit more rigid, but at the same time, it cuts out the slowest of the 80% moons, right? So it's like kind of a good balance there.
Yeah, I think it's still in that realm of there's still a lot of expression in, you know, what choices you make in World Peace, where you know, 80% maybe, you know, is kind of getting grinded to the point where it's pretty obvious what is most optimized and what isn't.
Absolutely. And right out of the gate here, we see Bayleef going for the right side. This is probably just a Darker Side muscle memory there. Probably what he's also more comfortable with, not opting to take the potential time loss to missing it. But it does look like it's going to give MiiWii a slight advantage at the beginning here.
we do see the time difference there was MiiWii did miss up Frog Room, so he got to the loading zone second, but still coming out first because of the left side there.
Yeah, and it might be some of these like any percent optimizations that might give MiiWii a little bit of an advantage in this race. Bayleef, very well known for his consistency, very well known for being able to get solid times in the category that he plays by going for perhaps not the absolute most optimal strategies for most of the things, but being able to execute on what he knows 100% of the time. So in a category that's a little bit shorter, you kind of have to take those risks in order to get those really good times. And we may see that could be the deciding factor here.
Oh, this new FMS, it just looks so much better.
Indeed, it looks well.
This...
Don't mean to make a pun here, but it looks a lot more fluid, if you ask me. Oh, that was a rough one.
No,
okay.
I like it. It landed.
I feel gross.
Clapping.
I can hear the claps. I can hear it. What we've dubbed Water FMS, I think, is the official title there. MiiWii actually nailing it on the first try. Now, you'll notice that Bayleef did not do FMS. He was playing on 1.2, but he has, very bravely, might I add, allowed 1.0 tricks in this race. So that is perhaps giving him a little bit of a disadvantage, but let's just see how that factors in.
I think it's, it's definitely, it's Bayleef, to have that confidence, and stick with it, you know what I mean?
Totally. Absolutely. And, there is some strategy involved with a decision like that, if you ask me, because...
Oh, I totally agree.
Just because there is that 30 seconds of available time save doesn't mean that you're going to nail those tricks on the first try. So it is a potential point of mess up for your opponent if you choose to let them do those things.
Bayleef, maybe have to be careful here with this Madame Brutal fight, being pretty close to this wall. Still going to be fine. Not a problem there.
Yes, this fight that we've all done thousands of times at this point. Just kind of throwing Cappy off to one side in order to have him return to you at just the right time in order to get the instant capture there. Neither of them having very much trouble with that fight at all.
Oh, MiiWii. A little bit of execution error there.
Sometimes when you do a spin pound and you try and jump out of it, have you ever noticed
another spin pound?
You get more spin, and I don't really know what causes that, but it is definitely frustrating. MiiWii going for this clip here. I don't know if he's got it. No, it doesn't look like it. But he's still gonna
notice he didn't get it over there quick.
Yes, there is quite a solid backup, really, to get out of that cave. It's just a quick jump out. But you can see here that MiiWii does have a sizable lead just because he was able to perform the first moon skip without any issues. So coming into sand here, there will be a sizable lead. He's also playing on 1.0, which means that the clips will be a little bit easier to execute for him. Not saying they're free, though, so we'll see how that plays in as well. Do you have any predictions for this race?
Oh, you know what? I was thinking about it earlier, and I'm gonna have to go with Bayleef. He's been around a while, right? Like, so I would say I remember any percent races within like the first month of this game coming out, like racing Bayleef, and I think he did a lot of races with IPK.
Right.
Back when IPK played, if anybody remembers that. We're showing you know what, this game's coming up on a year, right?
It is. We're about a week away from the 1 year game.
That's incredible how far we've pushed this game, and MiiWii practically becoming an attack helicopter right there.
Yep.
Like,
we don't discriminate. You can do whatever you want to be.
You can. It is. Like I said, a lot of expression involved. Speedrunning.
Indeed. Just maybe showing off a little bit, doing a little ballet dance to get the Sand Kingdom started off.
Yeah. And remember when I used to think that people make getting that bird moon look so easy now, and I used to think that was so I would never touch it.
Indeed, and the original strat, the OG strat, was to just kind of wait on top of this this cathedral and then allow the bird to fly to you. But with some expertly timed cap stalls in the air, you're able to actually just jump right towards the bird and get it a couple seconds faster. MiiWii going for this new route, this new Dram Strat route for World Peace. Actually just captured the bullet bill a little too early there. A very triggering thing that can happen, unfortunately. But he's got the backup. Looks like just fine. The Icicle has some very weird hitboxes.
Oh, he did that?
He's got this bullet bill, ooh, but he caught it at the very end of its cycle, so he's gonna have to go back and get another one.
It's kind of a weird situation here.
Indeed, trying a little bit of struggle with it.
Now Bayleef doing the an older route here. If I'm correct. Typically, I think most people now are getting those moons in the night section here.
That's correct. Yeah, there's a little bit of bullet bill juggling involved. Whereas Bayleef is just following, again, the route that he's familiar with, going to execute what he knows to the best of his ability here, and that is the older route, which I think we've factored in is about 7 seconds slower than what we are currently doing now, but definitely a safer one, especially if you haven't practiced this new one. MiiWii getting inside the pyramid there only took him a couple of tries. He still has about a 10-15 second lead, depending on how well Bayleef is able to perform this clip, we'll see.
I don't know, Dangers. I think he spent quite a bit of time there. Like, obviously, he's still gotta get those moons in the night section.
That's very true. There was quite a bit of a slip up as far as trying to execute that.
But Bayleef's just giving it right back to him a little bit there. Both of them having struggles with that. Bayleef being on 1.2, that is quite a bit harder. Man, I remember teaching myself that clip and I was just going insane. I think it was you one night that just you told me something that just clicked.
Yes. It's just like there's so many things to look out for, and you feel like you've got the key to it. You feel like you figured out that thing, and it'll work for you for maybe like a week or so, and then all of a sudden it'll just stop, and you'll be frustrated again. You'll be like, what is going on? And then you'll find a new thing, and that new thing will be the trigger to making it work, and then the cycle continues forever, basically. Getting it consistently, especially on 1.2, is a very, very fickle task, to be sure.
We need scientists.
Yeah, we need hired professionals on this.
Somebody get Mario Odyssey clip scientists.
And,
physics.
That I believe that field is hiring right now. Nobody's interested. All right, nothing really to say about this Harriet fight, to be honest. It is much more simple than the Bowser version of the fight. She throws her bomb directly at you, so all you have to do is knock it right back in a straight line. Of course, there is some manipulation in this fight that you can do where you stand in particular spots to trigger the boss not jumping as many times. Bayleef taking advantage of that, it looks like. If you know the spots, then you can make this fight go a little bit faster, a couple seconds.
It's frustrating when you see her jump just one more time because you were just off just a little bit, and then still you move, and then she kees moving.
Indeed.
Is it just me, or is it just me? Am I?
Should just keep moving forever.
Yeah. And then we're off to, both of them getting that multi-moon pretty quick there. So, I'm thinking MiiWii still has a lead here, but it depends on how Bayleef, how fast he can get over to that hole, the big giant hole in the ground.
Indeed.
You think these two moons equal that amount of time?
I think that MiiWii does have his work cut out for him a little bit. We are going to see a little bit of that bullet bill juggling. I actually do rather enjoy this particular section of movement. I imagine that Neo is very proud of what he's kind of come up with here. Neo, of course, being the mastermind router that came up with this situation.
And the cactus. Oh, the insult to Bullet Bill right there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, he's got it. He's got the cage open now. He's going second. You can see Bayleef is making his way over to the hole now, which is going to be the defining moment here. It goes to show that that original portion in the daytime really did take its toll on MiiWii. He's going to be behind now.
I didn't know that you still got luggage.
You do. In this new route, you do get luggage indeed.
Well, The more you know. And yeah, there we go. I think that one bullet bill cycle really kind of just threw it off there for MiiWii. And Bayleef's going to take the lead there.
Now, with the old route, I believe Bayleef is going 100% with the old route.
Oh, that's right. There's moons in here that changed, right?
Indeed. So he's going to be going for the chest moon on the right side here, which has been timed to be a little bit slower. MiiWii getting the luggage actually allows him to burst directly through to the door, so he might actually make some ground up here. It's actually very interesting to see. A lot of the racers in this... Ooh, and MiiWii actually just missing the bullet bill here, but saving himself on the cannon.
Though.
Very
What a
nicely
save.
done.
And now there's some new mechanic with the bullet bill, right? With not holding Y.
That's
Fill me
right.
in on that one.
So you're gonna hold Y for the very first shake, but holding Y after that actually kind of negates from the top speed that you get from the shaking. So what you have to do is let go after the first one, and that allows you to keep your top speed. And that actually, you can see that MiiWii has closed the gap a little bit there just by skipping the treasure chest moon.
Yeah, they were pretty much neck and neck here. Neck and neck. Now, Dangers. Now, I think you're one of those people who likes the bosses of World Peace. Fill me in on that one. Is that what I hear?
It depends on the boss. I think there's only one that I really do.
Which ones do we hate? Which ones do we love?
Oh boy. Well, this one.
Where the Dangers rate these?
Yes, on a scale from best to worst, let's say, the best boss is definitely Brigadier Mollusk Lancer III Dauphin of Babelais, the infamous seaside boss that everybody loves. That one's got to be my favorite.
Is it his mechanics that make him fun, or is it that name?
I think it's probably the name, but also it's one of those ones that's really fun to do fast, you know?
Okay,
Once you understand it, and like, I think it's got that mechanic to it that where like you've struggled with it for so long that when you finally do understand it and you get it fast, it's a very satisfying thing.
There's a lot of tech involved with that fight.
Indeed.
And Bayleef
Finishing up the fight.
Yeah, just practically just a couple of seconds there. Gonna be grabbing this multi-moon neck and neck still.
Yeah,
So this boss is much, much lower than the seaside boss.
Yeah, this one is a bit resident sleeper, just like all the other bosses in this particular game. It seems that a lot of them just have a very streamlined start to finish. You know, you can't really do a whole lot in between phases. The exception being actually Cookatiel, which I would rate perhaps the worst boss in the game, funny enough. But there are a couple of optimizations that we found where like rolling between the fists in between the phases speeds it up a little bit. You can determine just by like shaking a certain amount of times in the first and second phases of the fight actually changes the outcome of the third phase. There's a lot of like weird tech that saves very small amounts of time, but of course it adds up.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of boss fights where you're just idle, except for maybe, obviously Ruin Kingdom feels like the longest, 2-minute, 3-minute auto scroller.
Yeah, but some people would argue that stuff like that in speedruns is a good thing. It kind of gives you a breather, right before you approach the perhaps the most nerve-wracking part of the game. You get kind of like a break right before that happens.
There's a thin silver lining.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But now
Kitten providing some co-commentary here. She loves Lake Kingdom, specifically.
But now what is this from MiiWii here?
MiiWii's classic. Now, many runners of any category actually would argue that Wooded is much, much more difficult than Lake. So doing Wooded first allows you to save 5 minutes of your life, essentially, by, resetting in Wooded early in case something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And MiiWii is actually translating that directly into his races, which is, of course, a very interesting choice. It provides a little bit of a dynamic, and we may not know who is actually ahead until we reach the end of both of these kingdoms for both of these runners. So it's very interesting.
And MiiWii getting the clip here. This being not new anymore.
Oh my goodness. He's going for it. He's done it.
Mad lad.
Incredible.
What a mad lad, Dangers. Now, what did we skip? What did we win?
What do we win? Well,
Yo,
we
how
win
much
7
time did
seconds.
we save?
We win
Woo!
7 seconds there. Very spicy. Of course, the penalty for that particular trick is much, much higher than 7 seconds. And
What happens?
you fall into the deep woods is what
What
you
it do? What?
Oh, yes.
There's a deep wood trigger down there?
Oh, yeah. Everything out of bounds is deep woods material. So if you miss that jump, you're toast.
That's a spicy risk. You know what? That poison has been not kind to any of these runners in this race so far.
It's weird,
I know
right?
the last race I saw, that puddle be getting everybody out there.
And you would think, like, we've gotten to a point where we understand how the buffer jumps work, and they're quite reliable for most of the time. But these races are just not working out for any of them. MiiWii accomplishing the very scary Flower Road skip. That's only half of his journey, though. We actually do not go into the tower in this particular category. We go up to the top of it directly here, and you're going to see him skip.
Yeah. One of the very swag moments of World Peace.
Ooh, he's doing it in a much more dangerous way than I would ever choose to, but also making it look easy.
Galore.
Yes, very swaggy.
As Bayleef finishes up Lake Kingdom there. Lake Kingdom being pretty much the same as any percent. We just get in, get out.
Indeed. The only difference, perhaps, is with this new lake clip. I'm not sure if you've seen this route yet that's being developed, but
legends have been told.
yes, and it makes the any percent route about 6 seconds faster, but actually wouldn't work in World Peace because the idea there is to skip Rango entirely. So yes, it is very much like the any percent route of yesterday, I suppose.
But who would want to skip Rango?
I don't know.
He got a lot of hats.
He's a cool boy.
Yeah, I think it's, free Rango.
Hashtag free Rango.
Now, do we do anything post? Oh, that's right. We've got to go kill the flower. He's got a name.
He does.
What's the Torque Drift?
Mr. Torque Drift, yes.
Oh.
And definitely not one of the most exciting bosses in the game, in my opinion. Very auto-scrollery in itself as well.
But I've heard there's some tech which has been masterfully named.
Yes, the Speedy Nut
Speedy
Boy.
Nut Boy.
That is correct.
Oh, please do tell.
Mr. Speedy Nut Boy himself makes an appearance in the boss fight.
MiiWii, this jump can be a little bit difficult. It really requires like max height. Sometimes just the ground that you can be on makes it difficult. Definitely cost them a little bit there.
Yes, that is a tricky jump. It's very much like the salt triple, very much like the left side jump. You have to optimally time everything within that jump up there to maximize your height, or else you're going to mess it up somehow. MiiWii going for the Rocket Flower refresh there. We haven't seen it pulled off in this tournament yet. It is a very difficult strat to do. Not only do you have to refresh your Rocket Flower, but you have to grab the moon at the absolute highest point that you can in order to make it back up to the platform, or otherwise you will kind of waste it. But not able to do it there, unfortunately. Very tricky strat to pull off.
That's insane. We found a place in Wooded Kingdom to use Rocket Flower reset.
Indeed.
As Bayleef goes for his jump here, it looks like he nailed it. Just spot on. Both these runners making that trick look clean.
Indeed. Certainly making it look easier than it actually is.
Yeah. It's that trick. I feel like that trick is such a mind. It's like a mind game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all have done it so many times, but every time it comes up, you have this whole cutscene where you have to sit there and think about it. You know what I mean? And Bayleef didn't quite trust that wall kick there. He's gonna just say, you know what? Not worth the fall. We'll run it back.
I personally have a very hard time with stuff like that myself. Yeah. I will tell myself right before a jump like that, oh, you can still make it, it's fine, even though I know deep inside that I can't. It's a very, very easy way for me to reset a run, personally, but he did play it safe and didn't get triggered by it, it looks like, and is going to finish off Spirit just fine. And here we are with MiiWii here. He's performing a little bit of boss clip tech there. Sometimes you can kind of enter the boss a little bit and have your legs stretch right through. You still hit the boss just fine. Luckily, he didn't clip into the floor. We have seen that happen before, and that is instant death, which is very unfortunate.
That is, what phase did it happen on?
It can happen on any of them, as far as I know.
Shock.
So we hopefully won't see that.
Now, are we experiencing the speedy nut boy here? How fast are these boys?
Let's see. It doesn't look like he has the speedy nut boy. It looks like he's
Oh,
still got a little bit of
it's
and he clips through the
it's
boss
some-
again.
It's something you have to. How do you keep onto it, or
How do you
keep a hold of
acquire
it once
the
you?
speedy
Yeah,
nut
yeah,
boy?
yeah.
So
Or how do you keep it?
the first phase, it seems to be kind of random if you get it in the first phase, but if you do not have it in the second phase, during the laser part of the phase, I guess you can use the spawn platform, and if you land on it in such a way, the buffer that you usually get from landing will just not be there anymore, and that is how you achieve Speedy Nut Boy, or his gender-neutral term, of course, being the Quick Legume Child.
Oh, okay. It's quite. I like that one.
Yes, because we don't discriminate here.
Yes.
MiiWii finishing off that fight, making it look easy.
So it's like something it's a status you can acquire.
Indeed.
You either have it or you don't. I guess that's that's speedrunning.
You don't want to be just a mediocre being child. You want to be
mediocre. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot to live up to, though.
It is a title of great honor.
But that's Wooded Kingdom for MiiWii, as Bayleef still got this boss fight here. But also, don't forget, everybody, MiiWii throwing a wrench in everything. He's still got to do Lake Kingdom.
Indeed. Lake Kingdom being about 3 minutes, if I remember. And I'm not entirely sure what the length of the boss fight is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think myself. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close, boy.
Let me see here. Bayleef may or may not go
I
for
don't
this.
think he's got it.
He doesn't have it currently, no. And again, that first phase, it seems kind of random whether you get it right off the bat or not, but he probably does know how to achieve this. You can see he's trying by launching himself onto this spawn platform, but every time he's landing, there we go, you see it just kind of triggered there. His the Speedy Nut Boy has been activated.
The technology we have these days.
Indeed.
You can't keep up with it.
Just like we can't keep up with the Speedy Nut Boy.
Oh, he's so fast.
He's just too quick.
But you know, I mean, we were talking about bosses earlier, and you know, and it's those as mind-numbing some of the boss fights in this game are. There's always at least something to do, right? You know, like you said, with the boss in Seaside, you know, knowing how he moves, you know, getting him to like clip through things, just you know, it's a lot about you know knowledge as well as execution. So
That's right, and
it makes a good speed game.
that's exactly it. I think that's what makes this category a little bit more refreshing than it is at first glance, because a lot of any percent runners I've heard say, without really trying the boss fights themselves, say, oh, you know, they're auto scrollers, there's not a whole lot to do, but it can be very satisfying to know the little tips and tricks, and each boss fight probably has at least 5 seconds of time save in it somewhere, just by knowing like a particular tip or trick about it. Including this one here that MiiWii is going for. It looks like he actually first hit, and having to chase Rango around a little bit. But now he's going to set up for the rest of the quick strats here.
You gotta hit those hats. You gotta be on
gotta
top of
hit
those
those.
hats. You know, it's a game about speed. It's a game about hats.
That's
you know,
right. And if you're on top of the hats, you win the game.
if you're on top of the hats, you're on top of the game.
That's right.
I think that's how. I think that's how that happens.
That's what my father used to say.
Yeah, you know, top of the hat, on top of the game.
Now we do see Bayleef is entering the transition phase in the next kingdom, which means that he will have the lead coming out of these two optional direction kingdoms. Probably about a minute, if I had to guess.
Yeah, about a whole transition there. Yeah, from just kingdom to kingdom he's got on. So, but where are we off to next? Aren't we going? We're going to the big city, right? That's
Going
what
to the
game
big
just-
city.
Going
we're
to the big city. Nothing could go wrong.
Absolutely not. This
We're
is
out spreading peace.
peace to the world. They're going on a
Oh.
nice little tourism adventure, but there's something out the window, and it looks like we just skipped what was out the window, but we're in the clouds apparently now.
All right, that's pretty chill.
It seems nice, you know.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what's happening?
Our very first interaction with. Is this the end of the game?
Is this the boss, the end fight?
I can't believe we're here already. They said sub-hour wasn't possible.
No, this is one of those boss fights where you really have to do something, huh, Dangers?
Oh yes, yes indeed.
Oh, Bayleef. No. You wanted to get that hat, huh?
Just taking a little bit. I've never actually seen people do this fight the same way that Bayleef does. He doesn't do the backflip method and stay kind of far away from the hats. He tends to do kind of a double jump within the invincibility frames of the hats.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a riskier thing, I think. You can see that the hat falling away there again. It seems to be a bit of like a weirder setup, but making it work.
Yeah, still getting a little bit of a grace period there where you know, one of the most important thing about this fight is that you don't get the hat too close to him and you don't get the hat too far away from him.
That's
You want to
right.
make sure that you always get it in a time where you can get back to him and doing these damage boosts and these backflips, you grabbing the hat as soon as you can. So that's the best way we want to do it. But that's this fight. He looks so dapper and we just punch him.
I mean, he gave us a detour and we were going to the big city. I think we have every right to be mad. But then he gets mad right back. And within these cutscenes that we're skipping, he shoots down our Odyssey and we land in the Lost Kingdom. Very dangerous area of the game.
Now, is it dangerous to our time or just like to Mario?
I think a little bit of both.
Oh
I
my
have to
goodness,
say.
what could happen?
There's just so much danger.
Oh, MiiWii going off the rock. The triple off the rock.
I like the style. I like that
Yeah,
MiiWii is
I'd go
showing
for
that
that.
he can do a lot of the tricks, but just like with a little bit of like diversity.
Bayleef also showing the same there. With that. Bayleef has been showing me a lot of different techniques in boss fights. Like I didn't bring it up, but like back even on Madden Brutal, the way he had his camera, I've never seen somebody hold their camera that way. Most of the time, you're just centered on, but he was getting a different angle.
That's right. He's definitely got his own way of going about a lot of the things. His own flair, you could say. Make it work.
Lost Kingdom is full of flair. You get moving so fast.
You get him so fast, and it's one of those kingdoms that you have to do right, because if you don't do it right, you do it wrong. And if you do it wrong, you lose 20 seconds.
Or forever.
Or forever. You lose forever.
Yeah, you lose 20 seconds or forever in Lost Kingdom. Because that's what happens in runs.
Indeed. And that's part of it. You get so used to Lost Kingdom that you do everything right that even one false step is probably the end of your run. Of course, that isn't an option in a race setting. Both of these guys actually going for the rock cage moon, not taking any chances with any sort of triple jump strats, playing it a little bit safer, I would reckon. MiiWii actually missing the moon under the bridge. That's going to cost him, like I said, 20 seconds.
Finding the very small section of that of the map where you can hit the in between the moon and the wall.
Yep.
Not a big face.
He may have found a new strat there, but not going to help him out at all. And luckily, he did remember to not jump back up on the bridge. Klepto actually is waiting for you if you forget that coming back up is an idea. So,
Who dat Klepto?
Who dat Klepto? We don't even know. We don't even see him.
But now, are we off to the big city yet, Dangerous?
We're finally here. We made it.
Ah, it looks awful, dude. What's happening?
Yeah, I don't really know what happened here. It's kind of a mess.
Take me back.
Take me back, yeah. Can we go back to Lost Kingdom? It's a little bit prettier there.
Palm trees and cool birds.
Yeah. And like purple water and stuff.
It's nice. Look at this. There's like maggots and construction, dude. Looks awful.
Who would want to live here?
No, but this is a very scary section, not only because it goes back to Lost, right? Like where you have Lost Kingdom and then immediately Dark Metro, where again all your mistakes cost you either your life or you're falling from this, great height. Like this room we're in right now for Bayleef, missing the long jump at the end is just it feels awful.
It's tragic, and not only do you die, perhaps, but falling all the way down, you have to wait all of that time to get there. It's just a massive time loss.
And speedrunning is very much a mental thing, as it is, something, a science or something we can time, where something may not cost you a whole lot of your time, but sometimes things feel like they lose you so much time, and that's in a race setting that can be even worse.
Indeed. It's very easy to get triggered and kind of get caught up on your own mistakes, and that just snowballs into something worse. So
both of these runners making Dark Metro look easy so far.
Yeah.
And then we're off to tank mode here. Now, how many cycles do we want? 4?
Oh, 4 would be optimal. And by
4 is
optimal,
optimal.
I mean by optimal I mean
reset.
Optimal reset material there. I don't know if I've ever 4 cycle, to be honest with you.
If I don't get a 2, I let it go to 4, just so I can say I've never seen a 3 cycle.
Aha, that's the big brain
it's a
strats.
Principle. It's a principle thing. Yeah.
I like it.
No, but this boss fight, something I think when this game was very new, when this game was we didn't understand it quite as much. This boss fight was a real pain in the rear for a lot of people.
A real treat.
A real delight of RNG and resets. But now I think most people handle it pretty well. We know how to manipulate them. We know how to shoot. We know how much time we have. I think we're figuring out why the tanks overheat. Does anybody ever figure that out? Is it a time thing? You shooting too fast? What's going on?
I believe it has something to do with just shooting too many times.
Yeah.
I've noticed that if you don't move, sometimes your tank doesn't overheat at all. It's when you start moving back up again. It's there's some weird things there, but as long as you kind of
always overheat after the first phase.
Yes, for some reason.
What is that?
Luckily, there's nothing actually going on after you manage to finish off the first phase, so you're okay there. And both of these runners actually getting pretty decent cycles from this boss, finishing it off very nicely. And onto Day Metro, which is one of my favorite parts of this run.
Yeah, very fun part of the game, casually as well. Definitely a very big staple of this game. But we have seen some changes in the route here, right? Day Metro can be, we'll see if MiiWii goes for it.
That's correct. And of course, we know that Bayleef is sticking to the strats that he knows here. He is going to be stopping by with Bench Friend, giving him a nice little visit. The new route opts not to visit him at all, which is, it's kind of sad.
Is that even a real route? Are we even speed running anymore?
His world peace.
Did you? Yeah. Are we? What are we? I thought we were talking about peace dangers, and now you're telling me we're leaving bench friends behind.
No, it's tragic, and we don't even talk to Toad anymore. We don't even talk to the bench friend anymore.
I think maybe we need to update the rules about world peace.
I think we need to update the category name, maybe.
Yeah. Semi-world peace.
Yeah. Just to beat the boss modes.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it.
You got the story moons, but
we'll just call it story moon %. All right, so MiiWii, he is on 1.0, so he is going to be going for the new route devised for 1.0. Originally, we were getting bench friend. Now we actually get this trash moon that's up on the roof, very reminiscent of any %. And we're just going to skip right by bench friend. We're just gonna see you later.
Oh, the taxi. Giving him the business there.
Indeed. He just missed the cycle a little bit there by the looks of it, and that could have done with his slightly slow scooter clip. But he's reached the drummer just fine here. And now it's just a rounding up of the band. We're going to go all across the city here.
And, I heard that, I was watching another run, I was watching another World Peace tournament, right? And I think they named that drummer Tom.
The drummer's name is Tom.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
All right, you heard it here.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
You say.
Perhaps the drummer's name is Tom.
I think
Did they
yeah.
say anything about the guitarist?
No, somebody's got to figure out his name still.
Yeah.
You know, that's not up to me. I'm not one. You know.
Yeah, I don't really make the rules. I just follow them.
Yeah. I just follow the meme. You know.
We'll get the scientists on that one too. But the bassist, I'm pretty sure, is a well-known guy as well. What a character!
What a staple.
What a fair fellow he is.
No, but MiiWii is. This is where the route changes, right? Like normally, no, getting that first try. The camera there can be pretty frustrating sometimes, but I don't know if you really feel the effect of it coming from the bottom.
Indeed, there's kind of a mechanic in this game where things don't exist unless they're on the screen, and you kind of feel the effect of that with certain moons. That can be one of them. If you don't have your camera pointed directly at that moon in time for Mario to grab it. MiiWii going with a little bit of a risky strat.
Oh, yeah, ooh, I thought it was just jumping right off. MiiWii, don't do it. Now,
Bayleef
are we
entering
gonna see? Are we gonna see pipe clip from MiiWii here? Is that it?
Now
people,
he did go
do
for
people
the
risk
trash.
that?
In 1.0, it is apparently. He just needs to collect the last musician, arguably the best musician, and then he'll be on his way into the sewers. And because he collected the garbage moon and the pool moon, he will be going for sewer clip by the looks of it. So I'll have to see how that goes for him. He has the potential to save some time here.
What are we doing down in the sewers, anyways?
Well, after forcing us to collect a band for a festival thrown in our own honor, Pauline forgot to mention that the sewers are infested with piranha plants. So we have to go down there and clean that mess up before the festival can begin.
For world peace, you're gonna tell me we're still doing stuff for world peace, but we left bench friends behind?
Apparently. You think that the run would be over.
Yeah, but MiiWii showing up. I've never even attempted this. Have you, Dangers? This seems just
1.2 is especially difficult.
Yeah, I'm a 1.2 player myself. And this just seems.
It feels very random. There are some moments where I can make the clip happen 3 or 4 times in a row, and then I'll have some days where I'll stand there for half an hour and not get it once. So that's why it does not seem very RTA viable for 1.2. It does seem to be a little bit more lenient for 1.0. MiiWii finally getting it after probably about 30 seconds of trying, which unfortunately kind of negates the time save that you would get from that clip. The thing with World Peace is that the other clips kind of force a sequence break. The one in sand, you skip some story moons. In snow, you skip some story moons, but this one in particular, you're not really skipping a whole lot of anything. It only saves you 15 seconds if you get it on the first try, which makes it a very risky thing to go for.
Yeah, that's a very large risk for a very small reward, huh? But
Indeed. And then, of course, we're in the festival now.
The fest. Now, I've heard people need to watch their HP here because death by barrels is a serious condition.
It's
I read
not
it
fun.
on Wikipedia. Thousands of people suffered death by barrels. right here in festival.
Right here in festival, and you know, people kind of take it for granted. It looks like a very fun, happy place to be, but it's definitely costly if you manage to make it to that last room and suffer a death in that room. You have to do the entire festival all over again. Hopefully we will not see that from MiiWii here. Bayleef making it through the festival just fine, showing his Darker Side skill. You do this in Darker Side as well, so some of these things are going to be very familiar to him. A lot of World Peace does make its way into Darker Side as well, so he's probably well versed in some of these World Peace specific mechanics.
But there, he's done with Metro Kingdom, huh? We're out. We just had a party. We're leaving.
That's right. The festival that was thrown in our honor that we had to organize, it's finally all done.
I mean, and then we had to go through a gauntlet.
Indeed, we had to go through a gauntlet. We had to fight a 2D ape, which doesn't sound like a very fun festival, if you ask me, but we've made it through. MiiWii making it look easy as well.
Just they'll understand we're on a speed run. Just tell them that.
Yeah, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I have to get through here really
I
fast.
must go fast. Now are we gonna see? We're gonna get another option to switch kingdoms. We go here. Which kingdoms we
Indeed.
go to here? And we're gonna see another swap from MiiWii, as Bayleef does just go to Snow.
Snow is the prime choice because it is the first on the list. You don't have to select anything, you just have to mash A. I think that MiiWii does choose Snow just because it doesn't have the same problem as the first choice, where Lake is easy, Wooded is obviously a little bit more difficult, obviously a little bit more reset heavy. When you've got to this point in the run, you know, the reset is bound to happen and you're not really wasting any more time or less time. So I think he's probably going to go to Snow here.
And you know, anybody who's familiar with 80%, one of the joys of world peace is we don't care about coins. We ain't got time to shop.
Indeed.
We're saving the world.
Money is the root of all
Money-
evil.
Yeah, money. You think now, Dangers. There's a clip that we could see here, right there from.
Yes, Bayleef opting
Oh,
not to go
Bayleef.
for it. He's going to go for the downstairs wall clip here. There is a moon clip that you can do. Ooh, he nails it. He,
What was that, fourth try? That's pretty early. That's another difficult one.
especially on
of
1.2,
being-
yes.
Yeah. Of being from what I think most people not much harder than inverted pyramid. Most people would say.
Yeah, I would say maybe not harder, but it definitely feels more random. There's not as many
Right.
visual cues available to execute the clip, so it's kind of all up to your inputs, and you can feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, and it'll just kind of magically work one time.
Now, are we calling Bound Bull a boss? It does bring world peace.
It
We do.
apparently does bring world
We-
peace to
it-
Snow, and I'm not sure why.
Mhm.
It is kind of weird that hiding underneath these barriers that Bowser has placed in the town is just a happy-go-lucky race.
Looks
track.
like MiiWii wanted to get it, but didn't quite get it. He's gonna have to line it up here.
Indeed, yeah, he's gonna have to go downstairs.
But what are we calling? I saw 52 earlier, and we're gonna see another 52. Bayleef does this all the time.
Bayleef
All the
is very
time.
well versed in
He's probably
the Bound Bull.
He's probably run this more than anybody. I'm gonna give him 52.
I'm gonna call that too, actually.
Yeah. This MiiWii is showing off just how hard this trick can be.
Ooh, he's
Then
got
there he
it.
finally gets it. Yep.
Being very careful not to miss the loading zone. It's very possible that you can actually slide just past the loading zone, and you can be stuck in a perpetual slide forever unless you warp out of there. Kind of a semi-soft lock. You don't want to be in that situation. You have to do the clip all over again, and you have to warp from the Odyssey. It's a very, very nasty time. Luckily, he knew how to avoid that.
Yeah, definitely don't want to be stuck in that semi situation, semi-soft.
The semi-soft.
And the 52? Oh my
Almost
goodness.
a 51,
Yeah.
dude.
Whew.
So close. What a time. Those laps were
We
incredible.
are
might-
Bound Bold Wizard
That might be the
here
best Bound Bull we've
on
seen.
GSA. Oh, that do anything for you guys? That's excellent. 52.
Yes. And I'm actually not well versed in how MiiWii handles the Bound Bull. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with the 54 Dangers.
You're thinking
You know.
54?
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm thinking 54.
Maybe I just have a lack of faith, but I'm gonna say 56.
56, maybe feeling a little bit down. The clip didn't treat him well. He's got some ground to make up here. He's gonna need a good time.
Indeed, and all of the 1.0 exclusive tricks are more or less past. So
Yeah.
any time save that MiiWii has as far as tricks are concerned are gone now. This is, I think, Bayleef's race to lose at this point. We just have to hope that MiiWii is able to keep it consistent, keep it clean, and Bayleef, well, I'm not hoping that he does bad, but that is basically MiiWii's only chance at this point, I think. We've got about a 2-minute separation between them now.
I mean, that can happen here. It's a pretty long run, but there is still quite a bit of run left. Another RNG section here coming up for Bayleef. How long we need to wait on this fish is just like, give me a break, huh?
Indeed. Oh, and coming in with a 56. I'm gonna have to take the prize on this one, Nerf.
Yeah, you beat me.
I did you a bamboozle.
Bamboozled hard. on Bound Bowl. MiiWii, we're going to get some. I think there was some cabbage involved. I think somebody has to eat. We're going to do something with something cabbage.
I
MiiWii will
think,
let you guys know.
yeah, I'm not sure about the cabbage. All I know that they're chat right.
Now I've heard people going for Snowdram here in World Peace now instead of that last timer challenge moon. Are you think we're gonna see it?
Perhaps not from Bayleef. I think that he did just take the easy way out here. It is not as big of a time save in World Peace as it is in any percent, so it is a very risky thing to go for.
All right. Well, I was just talking to my time broker, and I was just wondering how much time we talking.
We're talking 2 seconds in World Peace.
So if I wanted to trade some time, that's maybe not some time.
That's probably not some time that you're looking for, unless you're really,
Okay.
you're really broke on time, you know, and you absolutely need that.
Well, I mean, all right. Well then, well, maybe not worth it.
Maybe not worth it this particular, especially in a race setting. You know, if you are 100% confident with Snowdram, say you're one of the top any percent runners, then by all means you're going to go for it. But anybody else might be more keen to just take the easy way out.
Yes. Wait, here we are waiting on the fish. Just like I said earlier, we can just take for days.
Yeah, but nailing it on the first try, it looks like.
As Bayleef is off to the start of Seaside here. Now, Seaside is, quite a bit different, as we need to get a lot of story moons here that you just never see on any percent. Anybody familiar with that? So,
And particularly because they all involve these very long cutscenes.
yeah.
Every time you get a story moon in this kingdom, it opens up a box that is surrounding a switch, and then you have to hit the switch, and after the switch is another cutscene, and then you move on to the next one. So it's like, it's a very slow process. Any percent skips all of these. There are 10 moons that you need to collect in Seaside, and they're actually covered. 7 out of the 10 of the moons in this kingdom are covered by story moons. So the rest of the moons that we're going to be getting along the way are just some ones that are kind of in the way. We do a quick loop around, and it looks like Bayleef has actually been doing his homework in this particular kingdom, because he will be going for this new Seaside route.
Gotcha. So there's a lot of use of the Gushin, huh? We're zipping around, huh?
Indeed, we are trying to get
You
from switch to switch as fast as possible here, and the Gushin is kind of the fastest way to do it.
That's a fast boy.
He is a speedy boy, and we're actually going to dip under a quick minute here, get these familiar story moons, or not story moons, sorry, these any percent moons that just happen to be in our way, and then we're going to pop back up and keep hitting switches.
Oh, that is new to me.
Yes, there used to be some above water moons that we used to get, including Captain Toad visit, but they have been deemed a little bit too slow because of
Toad anymore.
Yeah, we don't even talk to Captain Toad.
We don't
anymore.
talk to Bench Friend. We don't talk to Toad. He's probably still, freezing to death in the tundra.
That's right. We don't even know if he's up on a cliff here because he could just be in snow.
Jeez. What are we even after? Any more dangers?
Yeah,
Are we even
for-
after World Peace anymore?
is Mario even the ambassador
Yeah,
he's
like-
advertising himself to be? He doesn't seem to like to talk to people at all.
It's unreal, dude. But one flip flop of world peace versus any percent here is, in any percent, one of the reasons snow feels so slow is because of the story moons, and then we skip all of them in Seaside. But here, we're kind of forced to get them, and then we cut them out of snow. So
Yeah, we don't really have a choice.
yeah.
Mainly because there's no real sequence break involved here. The only way that the boss triggers, he's actually sitting on top of the goblet in the middle of the stage this whole time. And by triggering all of these water gushing geysers, it kind of like spooks him off the top of the tower. So there's no way to really break the sequence there. Whereas in snow, we're lucky that by clipping into that area, we just skip all of the extra bonus rooms entirely.
That down throw from MiiWii.
Showing off the
Joy-Cons.
Pro-Con strats, yeah. Or the Joy-Con, yes, that's right.
And what was this man's name?
This
His
fine,
boss's
dapper
Yes.
octopus lad
I just
is...
wanna please tell.
I hope that Zinpars is... Or sorry, not Zinpars. I hope that Limcube attendance at the moment because he needs to do his homework on this one. But
Uh-huh.
it is Brigadier Mollusk Lancer III, Dauphin of Bablaine. The Honorable.
Yes, the prestigious.
Indeed, Esquire.
Now, Bayleef is here on time. He's getting here pretty early, right? He's got to get this cycle quick. Just we were talking earlier, about boss fights and just knowing the mechanics.
Right.
Knowing how to speed this up makes this boss fight so much more bearable. I think one of the boss fights are almost frustrating until you know everything that can go wrong, right?
Exactly.
So,
And knowing your
until that
backups is
point.
important, but knowing how to do the boss fight fast is
Yeah.
more important.
Yeah, sometimes just knowing even what you did that made it go so wrong is just enough to kind of like figure out run it back. We'll get that one next time.
Exactly. Like, for example, this boss fight, it kind of has a weird mechanic where we break the game a little bit and he clips through the platform into the third phase very quickly. However, if you didn't know that, it would be very instinctual to just follow him around the stage and wait for him to go through all of his sequences. And, you'd be doing this fight slower until you figured out that particular sequence break in the boss fight.
It's awful. It's the worst.
Just absolutely the worst. So as Bayleef is leaving, MiiWii just starting up the fight here with Brigadier, and he's actually let the boss travel a little bit before the second phase here, which is going to cost him a little bit of time, as well as potentially missing the chance at the boss clip.
Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be close, huh?
Yes, actually doing the smart thing there and using the geysers to refill the water is a very clever idea.
Ooh,
But he's a
Looks
little
like
bit
he
too slow. And you can always tell because he kind of does like a little frustrated animation. And if you are able to beat him to the hot spring before he does that, then you know you've got the clip. But you do see him going around there instead. Now he's going to have to chase Brigadier down.
ooh, taking a cone to the face there.
And yeah, that's got to hurt, You'd
Oh.
never like to see that.
I hate to see that. But we popped all the corks. This guy's brain exploded.
Yep. Too
We're
much
off
big
to-
brain.
Too much big brain. It's gonna handle it. As Bayleef is off to Luncheon Kingdom, it looks like an accidental cap vault there. Sometimes you get those,
Hey, cap
They're
vaults are
always-
fun. I would be
They're
happy to
always a
get
little blessing.
It's all about the little happy moments,
Yeah. The little happy cat vault. Little Bob Ross vault. Somebody needs to get that emote.
Popping off with the Bob Ross emotes. And this is the second time we run into Speedrun here. He's not any harder or any easier than the first time. His arena's a little bit bigger. He's got some
It's
more.
a rectangle dangers.
That's
You know
true.
how crazy it gets in there when he's popping off, dude?
You got four corners. That makes
He's
things hella
bouncing
different.
all over the place, getting that purple stuff on the ground.
Oh man,
This ain't a circle anymore, dude.
Bayleef not even letting him do the purple stuff though.
Not even seen. No, Luncheon Kingdom, I think, it's so flashy. The geometry, the level itself is even flashy, but we get to just see kind of all the movement options that Mario has that we really have in this game get shown off here, including clips, spin pounds. You name it, you get to see it here. Homing throws, just like that. Eventually, there it is. Luncheon Kingdom's where it's at.
I do really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite casual kingdoms. There's fun sub areas in this particular kingdom. We're probably not going to see a whole lot of them, to be fair, but there is a lot of fast tech, to be sure. A lot of fun movement options as well to get up and over some of these shapes.
In the infamous Death by Cheese.
Yes. Looks like Bayleef getting some decent RNG, opening up the cheese rocks there. Now, 1.0 does have a turnip clip strategy available, where you can throw a turnip kind of close to the box that is encompassing the moon and use a pan bro to slip inside the box. We probably won't see that in World Peace. It's a little bit of a tricky strategy to get a turnip over there in a speedy fashion.
We do enjoy going fast.
We do indeed.
Right. Now, the boss of this kingdom, I can't stand it. Talk about hitboxes. I think we all just learned that it sucks. We just all agree that it sucks, and you deal with it, and it's life.
Yes, and we thought the Mecha Wiggler was a bad boss for hitboxes, but Cookatiel decided to one-up him, I think, a little bit. Definitely not a fun fight, especially if you are unfamiliar with the mechanics. There's a way, this is probably one of the best designed bosses in the game in terms of the actual fight and the way that you're supposed to progress through it. It does have a way of kind of skipping forward into the next phases. That's kind of a unique thing that none of the other bosses really have. But the hitboxes.
Oh. Sometimes you're just trying to give him a little boop, but he's not having it.
No, he's just dodging it like a pro NFL quarterback.
Yeah, just not touching those boops.
Nope, not about the boops.
Not getting him. And here we go. Oh, getting the cheese. Ooh, leaving the front cheese though.
That's
that
pretty
very
stylish.
Often. Yeah.
Keeping some cheese.
Oh, Bayleef had to wait on his hat there. Didn't quite trust himself.
Yeah, that was a bit risky. Luckily, he knew to take the and risk the jump there.
Now, does Mario call Cappy back, or does Cappy just come back on his own?
That is a good question.
Are we
Things
like
to
a
ponder.
Jedi?
We use the Force.
We just summon Cappy back to us.
It is a bit weird that, we're able to teleport across the stage after collecting power moons, but other times we're just, stationary and we can't float out of areas. It is a Mario game after all. The universe does not need to make sense. MiiWii going, so there's a very dangerous mountain movement there.
Showing off his, bringing out the attack helicopter again.
That's right.
So it saves lives. A fall there is a death. I don't know if there is. I think there's one spot on the wall, but good luck finding it in a panicked mode while you're
That's right.
getting your bum burned by the hot lava. A good old bum burning.
Yeah, you don't like to see that, that's for sure. Now, one of my favorite parts of Luncheon in general is just how swaggy some of the movement can be. This is a very infamous part that Bayleef is approaching here, the Koopa free running section. The game never intended for you to really go this way, I think, but you can definitely get from the bottom of the mountain up to the very top with some very swaggy, stylish strats.
And that was fast.
Very speedy.
That's what I'm talking about. Luncheon, man. You get to just see the incredible feats that Mario Odyssey is. Like that's from just hours of just grinding for Koopa free running. Somebody was like, how do we get over there?
Yes, and how do we use the entire toolbox available to us to do it the fastest way as well? One of the best parts of Super Mario Odyssey as a speed game is just how versatile the movement options are, I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of control over what Mario and where to put him, how you can put him.
Yeah, you combine Mario's already very vast jumping abilities with the things that Cappy provides for you in terms of movement options. This game also has kind of a mechanic that is overlooked, I would say, where when you collect a moon and you're standing in the middle of the air, your cap actually gets refreshed, which is a very useful tactic among others. So
Yeah,
lots of
very
movement
useful in Lost Kingdom, which we used to take an intentional death there at the end of Lost Kingdom, but then somebody was like, wait a minute,
we can get out from there.
I cannot die. And hey, not dying's faster.
Indeed, and we're all about going fast.
Yes.
All right, and it looks like we've kind of missed Bayleef's attempt with the boss here, but he's making quick work of Cookatiel. Again, darker side knowledge kicking in there a little bit, probably. He does have to fight Cookatiel in darker side. Very familiar with that fight, very familiar with the nuances of how frustrating the hitboxes can be, making it look easy. He's leaving Luncheon Kingdom now as MiiWii approaches the fight for himself.
See, that's why we didn't talk about it. He made it look too easy. He was proving us wrong, right? We talked
Indeed.
about how bad it was. But here he is in a bowl of soup. You're a fireball fighting a bird.
And he vomits at you into his
Oh
own
my.
creation, which is, very
Like,
strange.
what did he get hit by?
Oh man, chalk it up to the other things that this boss fight is
Yeah.
just fantastic for.
What did he get hit by?
He just, he throws in vegetables at you. You get hit by the invisible stuff.
Are those vegetables? That just looks like weapons of war.
It's a combination of both, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
files there really balance out.
I'm pretty sure some of those explode, right?
I wouldn't want to be around to find out. Now, MiiWii approaching the most uncomfortable part of this boss fight. And then you're gonna dance in front of his face for a bit. He actually got lucky with the hitbox there. When he made it to the top, the boss fight ended. Sometimes you can just kind of rub up against Cookatiel's face for quite a while, and it can be very uncomfortable for you.
Yeah, you just feel like you're fighting him forever.
Yep. And
Pushing
we like to go fast.
Stone up a hill.
Indeed.
Oh.
And now
And
we
then
approach.
we're up. Yeah.
We
Ruined.
approach the best kingdom here. So lots of memes about Dark Souls, of course. I think now that I think a new Spyro game is coming out, and I think this is a sneak peek preview, actually.
Aren't you? Get out of here. Get out of here.
I mean, he looks really good. Not a lie.
He's been probably working out.
Yeah, he's been hitting the gym. He's buff. Like how in Game of Thrones, like the dragons from season 1 to season 2, just like all of a sudden they're gigantic. This is what happens when Spyro ages a year. He's huge.
It's massive. He's probably got, he got a gym membership. He's been working out.
Yeah, he's hitting the anytime fitness.
He's trying to hang out with princesses, man. I can't blame him. Although, maybe just don't get knocked out by like three jumps to the head. Well, I don't know. Maybe that is rough. Mario does bounce on his butt pretty hard right there. I don't know what kind of damage that would do to your brain, but
I probably wouldn't want to have that happen to me. To be
yeah,
honest.
but if I was a dragon, I wouldn't want to talk. I wouldn't want to tell my other dragon friends about it. You know what I mean? Like I might be a little embarrassed.
Totally. Like, hey, what did you do today?
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, just dragon stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Definitely didn't get knocked out by a short Italian man.
No, why would you ever think that?
Cool. I didn't even bring it up. But this fight, while we don't have a whole lot to do while it's going on, the most important thing is that you're there pulling those pins out as soon as you can, because you're just waiting on the phases, right? So most people, they just take a damage boost. You sit on his head and you pull the pins out, then you get in there.
That's right.
But then we're off to Bowser's.
And Bowser has his own kingdom, and he's stylized it very much after Asian culture by the looks of it. It's a very nice aesthetic choice, if I do say so myself.
But not a whole lot. This is where, the kind of the tail end of the any percent route and this kind of meet up, right? So we don't see a whole lot of, we don't see any difference there, really. We're just still getting through these last 3 kingdoms. We've wrapped peace to everybody. Now we're just trying to crash a wedding. We're trying to bring peace, though, right? So we're trying to crash a wedding. We don't talk to bench friends. We leave Toad to die, but we're trying to save the world. But hey, It's not up to me, right?
Unfortunately not.
But Bowser's Kingdom, it's a bet going back to, how, time loss. Obviously, you can measure it. We can time it out. We can say, a death here costs us this much time because we got to reset and come back to it. But Bowser's Kingdom being another area where time loss just feels forever. Because if you fall off these maps, you fall for a while. Like, the death plane is pretty far down there.
Yes,
So.
big drops. Yeah. Of course, top
Huge.
Combined with the fact that you have to go back to a checkpoint, and any percent doesn't really pay attention to those. World Peace doesn't really pay attention to those. It's very possible that you could not have grabbed a checkpoint for a very long time in this kingdom and be sent very far back, which can be very costly. And we like to be speedy, that's the name of the game.
Ooh.
And I'd just like to point out here, we might be a little bit delayed on the reaction here, but Schultzar dropping 10,000 bits.
My dude.
An incredibly generous donation from Schultzar. Thank you so much for the support.
Very blessed here to witness that, experience that, speak that out loud.
Be one with it. And of course, the donations that go towards the channel during this tournament, during all of the events of the tournament, become part of the prize pool for the tournament itself. So by donating and by subscribing, all of this goes towards the eventual prize that these runners themselves could win, actually. So very exciting.
You have a shot at that, don't you, Dangers, here in this tournament?
I suppose I do. We are approaching the quarterfinals here.
Ooh, the quarterfinals. Now, you've been doing a lot of world peace, huh? I think you maybe had a world record one time. I think I saw that somewhere.
It did happen for a hot minute, yeah.
One hot minute.
One hot minute ago.
Definitely, you're up there for a contender for this, huh?
I'd like to think so. We do have a lot of very good runners from the any percent world that have a very solid chance as well, considering world peace and any percent do share a lot. They have a very good opportunity to save a lot of time that is just in optimization of movement. That's the name of the game. I think in general, world peace is a category that hasn't seen a whole lot of love, but with all of these new any percent runners taking it on and kind of bringing some optimization into the areas that they're not comfortable with, it's actually bringing the time down in the category farther than we could originally. It's a very exciting time for world peace, to say the least.
Just more eyes on it is always a good thing, right?
Indeed.
When it comes to finding new things.
In a kingdom like this, however, Bowser's Kingdom is actually remaining the same. I would say Bayleef is not a solid any percent runner as far as like playing it a lot. So this could be an opportunity for MiiWii to catch up in certain respects.
That spin pound off of that moon was scary. That's terrifying. Is that normal? People do that?
People do that, believe it or
That's
not.
crazy. You're all crazy.
You heard it here first.
You're all crazy.
The Speedy Boys, they're crazy.
But Bayleef still holding on to that lead here as we're going up into Mecha, right? So Mecha, it takes quite a bit, takes a lot of victims, right? So I don't want to say nobody's out of this yet until it's Mecha, until we're through Mecha.
And you just never know what could happen. There's some very risky strats involved with doing it quickly. And at any point you fall off, you're losing about 15 to 20 seconds. And let's just hope that that doesn't happen to either of these guys here.
Another boss that have seen a lot of change in. I don't know if there's been any lately, but this is just one of those bosses where somebody figures out one small thing, and then somebody tweaks that, and then that gets tweaked, and then it comes down to where you're doing Harry at third and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Indeed. Saving, again, seconds sometimes for all of these small optimizations, these changes in strategy. I remember like back ages ago, it seems now, the fastest way that we could think to do this fight was to wait for a bird and use that bird to climb up the very first time and then stay on from then. Which, you know, it seems like so slow now, but that was the way to do it.
The bird. I forgot we actually used a bird in this fight.
I know, right? They exist, believe it or not.
We've taken birds out of. I don't think we even touched the bird anymore. Bayleef didn't touch the bird anymore. We
Not
don't get
even
glory
once.
hole.
No, we don't get
bench friends.
I
I
think
don't know if I
perhaps
want to live in that kind of world. I don't know what kind of peace. I don't know what kind of peace is being brought to it, but I don't know, Dangers.
doesn't sound like a world full of peace. That's for sure. I think perhaps the only time you touch the bird, climb the wall right before the end.
Oh, you're right.
But
You're right.
it feels like we're kind of using and abusing him, to be honest.
Yeah, just picking them up and forgetting about them. MiiWii is pulling out all of the strats here in Bowser's Kingdom, doing the flick off the wall, the roll cancels into the moons, into the pylons.
Yes, very flashy player.
Love it. I love to see that, especially in a race. Like some of those risks we were talking about, you know, just is it really worth it? But MiiWii's like, it's worth it. We're doing it.
Absolutely.
And it may just come back to, you know, maybe that's what he does in his runs, and you know, why not do it in a race? It's what you're comfortable with.
Absolutely. And MiiWii here approaching the robot fight himself. We might see that he goes for some slightly riskier and updated strats to finish this boss off. You can see that he's hopping in behind the Robo Brute in order to hit Topper first. This is what we call the Goryuya method. A little bit faster than the way that Bayleef was able to take it on. Getting it just fine.
This boss is so scary. And as we just wait through the Rainbow Leg section, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like sometimes you can just get thrown off the top of it. But maybe it's because you were pushing buttons. Oh no, misses the first few ground pounds, but gets it just fine. I don't know if this is gonna throw him off.
You gotta kind of line yourself up properly in order to make that work. But when he misses the spin pound for the last hit, and again, a very costly time save. You have to wait for this boss to stop stomping around, wait for him to throw some bombs at you, and then capture a bird after all of that in order to get back up. It's a very costly time loss.
Oh, you hate to see that, Dangers. He's got one more bunny to get rid of. Yeah.
He's nailed it, luckily.
Then they blast off. I don't want to say that maybe those bunnies are no longer with us, Dangers, but they did just, you know, fly up into space and explode into fireworks. But
yeah, it doesn't really look good for them, if you ask me.
Again, I'm questioning this category named Dangers. You brought me here under false pretenses, saying
we thought we were saving the world. Mario is he's a rough guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's ruining my weekend.
I'm sorry about your weekend, Nerf.
Jeez, Dangers.
You're gonna
now
have to
we're
go
off to the moon.
Indeed. And the moon, I mean, what could possibly go wrong here? Now that we've caused world destruction, we might as well cause moon destruction, right?
I mean, that, and you got one place left to choke. It's the last kingdom.
That is right. You've just come off this
throw
very scary Robo Brutal fight.
Mm-hmm.
And your nerves are high.
Taking screenshots.
Gotta prove that you were fighting Bowser on the moon.
I wouldn't believe you.
That's why you take the screenshots.
I know. You know, that's thinking ahead.
Yes, it's using your noodle.
But it is an area where things can get scary. You know, this boss fight, although it's just a rehash with a little bit, you know, more fire. Bowser's been working out on his fire game, but it's just it feels different, right? You know, you're maybe, like you said, right at the end of a run. You know, you're getting these damage boosts, maybe messing up a little bit. But if you're gonna choke, you definitely don't want to see it on the moon. It hurts. It's a hurt. It feels bad.
It's not necessarily the hardest kingdom, however, just about everywhere that you can die in this kingdom is a very, very big time loss. If you die during the Bowser fight in any beginning of it. If you die at any point on your way to the Bowser fight, you go back to the Odyssey, which is at the very start. Very costly time loss. If you die any point during the escape, you go back to the beginning of the escape, which costs you about a minute. So it is not necessarily the hardest tech in the game, but it is the most costly to mess up.
Oh, it's painful. It's a painful time. Oh, Moonskip. Good old Moonskip. Were you around when we didn't understand Moonskip dangers?
I was not, actually. By the time I had arrived within the Super Mario community, more or less figured out.
I remember there was this chart that got passed around that had the route and all of the little how-tos in it. And there were 3 entries on how to make Moonskip consistent when I first started learning this game.
3 entries?
There's 3 entries in there. There's 3 different videos. It was a fun time, you know. It was the start of an era.
Very early days of trying to figure this game out, and it's incredible to see how much we know about it now.
Yeah, coming up on a year.
Yeah, that's right. This game as a speed game has evolved so quickly because of the attention that it's got. It's incredible.
Yeah, it blew up, right? And I think it's been great. I think it's, the community we formed around it has been, what really makes it, right? It's not just a game as much as it is, it's our speed game, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Now Bayleef, he has made it through the 2D section just going all right. He's just in this final pillar room. Again, this is kind of his race to lose at this point. The only dangerous thing that might be able to happen here is just that he falls to his death somewhere. But
falls in a hole.
Falls in the holes, and you can see that the moon is creating a lot of holes for him right now.
Puts the Bowsers in a hole.
That's what they do.
Bayleef is making sure he has this capture. He's got it good.
He's got it on lockdown.
Ain't nobody gonna prove him wrong.
He's shooting out the wire. It looks like the final time we got there, 1:19.18 for Bayleef. Very good, solid showing, and a very solid run. There was very minimal mistakes throughout that, I would say.
119.
Coming in with the consistency, I think the only things that really went wrong were perhaps the clips just like not really working on the first try, but that's a testament to the way that Bayleef plays the game. He's very good at the stuff that he does because he knows that as long as he plays safe, he can get good times. And it's proven himself here today, so.
It's a race, and even if you're not doing the fastest thing out there, if you're doing it faster than the guy you're racing against, that's all that matters. So.
Yes, indeed. And now we see MiiWii. He's just going to finish this up. Would you hate to see that? But he was able to just save it.
Woo!
That's spicy.
That's a clutch moment if I ever seen one. That is usually any bop, any boop, any tumble, dangers, any slip up, any mishap.
And you're in the hole.
You're in the hole. You're taking one good old dumpster dive down to Resetsville.
And it's not a fun place to be.
No one ever wants to go to Resetsville. All it does is just mess up. It's not a good time.
Yes, you really do hate to see that. We've seen many top runners lose good runs to that particular trick. It's just it's not a fun time. But MiiWii just being able to save it. He's now in the pillar room, finishing off this very final part here. Still a very commendable time from MiiWii.
I definitely, with Lost Kingdom not being very kind to him, I think that's an extremely good time.
Yes, and a little bit of spaghetti with the new sand route in particular. I do seem to recall.
It's fresh spaghetti. It's all right.
It's fresh spaghetti. We made that pasta
fresh
today.
Spaghetti. Yeah, it is. It's fresh, guys. That's
This ain't no dried pasta.
Mm.
All right, MiiWii closing it out 121 and final time on the clock we got here. A very solid showing from both of these runners. Yeah, GG's all around, I would say. A very exciting race from the two of them as well. Good showing.
Yeah.
And here we have with us the racers themselves. We'll start with you, MiiWii. How did you feel the race went for you there?
I felt like, I don't know. I think I did pretty badly. I did pretty bad. In sand, I misdram, captured the bullet bill early, and a bunch of other stuff. Though if there's one thing I think I golded my Hubert split and wooded because it was my first time getting
We saw you go for the out of bounds movement
Yeah.
there after the nut clip, which is a very risky thing to do, and I was very impressed.
Yeah. But yeah, I made a lot of mistakes there.
Yeah, there was a couple of very unfortunate incidents. Day sand, we saw a little bit of bullet bill spaghetti there, and just some common slip ups in Lost as well. Unfortunate dive underneath the bridge. But
Yeah.
you know, those are the kinds of things that happen, especially in a high risk situation. So, but still a very good showing, I would say. A 121 is not a bad time.
A blast.
Yeah.
And we also have here with us Bayleef, who comes out on top in this race. Bayleef, a very good showing as well. How did you feel about this race?
Oh, my early game was so bad. And I lost like 25 seconds on the moon.
Yes,
But I lost. Pyramid clip was bad. But it's 1.2, so whatever.
Yeah.
Sand, there's a lot of mistakes in sand. Lake was fine.
Any golds? Any golds on that?
I golded my neck split by a second.
Nice. All right. Well, little.
Yeah, you both actually had very solid Mecha Wiggler fights. I do recall the cycles worked out
Oh yeah, he
very
gave
well.
me a
for both
nice
of you.
pattern.
Yeah.
And second bite fish.
Oh yeah, that was nice, huh?
Yeah, it's always nice when you don't take 9 bites to get the fish.
Yeah, we've seen that before. That's not a fun one.
Bowser's had a little bit of mistakes. Seaside went very well. Seaside and Snow went pretty well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did see you go for the new route in Seaside. It's a very easy to make, very safe strat. I always do really enjoy Seaside because I feel fast doing it. So, but yeah, very good showing from both runners. GG's to MiiWii, GG's to Bayleef.
GG's Bayleef. Yeah.
GG movie.
Bayleef will be moving on to the quarterfinals. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Nerf, for the excellent commentary.
It was a pleasure. You as well, Dangers.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with this one, for sure. I think that the beginning of the quarterfinals will be taking place. We are scheduled to start on the 22nd. There are no dates posted for matches just yet, but be sure to check those out as well. We have some very exciting matchups coming up in the future here, so stay tuned. Until next time, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah.
No problem.
From